Afternoon and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge, Ontario to talk about video games.
Oh yeah.
And this is a pretty big game. One we've been looking forward to for a while.
Very long time. It's finally here. Final Fantasy XVI. Wow.
It is finally here, and I got a lot of good things to say, but I'm not as happy with this game as I would have liked to be, I must say.
Yeah.
Something we're going to get into.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of good, and I'll get into what I think should be something that they can explore going forward. Maybe you want to start?
Yeah, we'll break it down, I guess. I didn't want to start by saying, we probably recently talked about Zelda Breath of the Wild and how I felt that the game it's a good game. The world building's excellent. I just am kind of put off by certain material inclusions, like gameplay elements in the game that I feel are kind of fucking contradictory to the inner logic of the world. Like I said before, right? Like, there's this high stakes confrontation between good and evil, and Buddy is dicking around with block puzzles. It just, I don't like that. It's dumb, right?
Yeah.
Here, I like the matter of the game a lot. I love the gameplay. I love the combat, more or less what you're doing on a moment-to-moment basis.
Yeah, basically the whole structure of it. But
the inner logic of the world, I think, the world building itself, I think that is deficient compared to other Final Fantasy games. And even, if we hold any act of world building or fantasy to the standard it should be held to, right? It simply
then
fails
this would be a little bit subpar, I guess. There.
Yeah.
If you know anything about Mike, that's like number one right there, the world. And I agree with
for
you.
me, yeah, it is.
Part.
Right,
absolutely.
right.
Like that's in essence what makes you like kind of get sucked into it. Like you're so like, like we were just saying Death Stranding, I've been playing a bit, and like it's so ridiculous that like you can't help but like be like, just enthralled by it, and you're like, wow.
I think what makes a game different than a series of movements or a dance or a bodily activity is the fact that whatever you're doing here, it's representational. It's to participate in the act of world building, right? So it's really the whole moving cause of playing a game in the first place. And in that sense, I think it is important, right?
Yeah. So it seems like, I guess that's kind of
And to summarize, like, it's not that I think that in any superficial or narrative aspect the game is deficient, and probably to me that's not exactly what world building is, right? It's rather, I think world building should be the construction of a world in terms of its political and fucking natural categories, especially, right? And I probably remarked this, about Mass Effect a couple of years back, that it seems it's just like a transplant of our world in a superficial fantasy or sci-fi setting, right? It's like our own politics, our own structure of social relations, even our own ideas about how things ought to be, and not in a critical manner, not like their underlying assumptions are even understood or challenged, much less. It's rather just like fucking taking what we want and know, the same way that Marvel cinema does, and fucking
sort of
putting a new superficial drapery atop it. And that's why I don't really think the world building here is that great. Like even fucking right off the bat, like before we even get into the game, like we see the producer talking about how this game is about magic as an analog for oil and natural resources, and the fucking dominance and the icons are like nuclear weapons. And he wants it to be very much that this is a game understandable in terms of our own real categories.
Yeah, that kind of does bug me out a little bit, and I see what you're saying about that cheapening like the world building, because really you're not building a world off, right? Instead of taking inspiration, you're kind of like directly riffing off our world, right? Just changing the particulars of things and making it fantasy dress up, like you said, right?
That's right.
And it is you just very nice fantasy dress up. Like everything else is amazing, but like, I see what you're saying about the.
I don't think that's up to build a world, right? To put fantasy clothing on top of fucking pre-existing categories of thing, right? Like
15 had much more of a broader
built world.
Like, I
think so. And I think it's not even just in those terms that like the broadest strokes of the most important, the most important entities and categories of thing in this world are meant to just like crudely, allegorically represent fucking oil and nukes and this and that kind of shit. It's even like the trajectory of the fucking, like the game's vision of justice and how things should be are just shallow appropriations of modern day concerns in the most superficial sense. Like we want to build a society for everybody where fucking people aren't judged based on what they are. You could be a pedophile, sir. It doesn't matter. I only care about who you are, right? Like, it's just so flimsy. It's not even a fucking coherent articulation of these ideas as they exist today. It's just like this like, again, like, it's like almost just, like a sloganistic version of these concepts that somebody has built into a fantasy world. Like, this guy, he's fighting because, you know, people are unjustly oppressed in order that they might fucking exploit each other for oil, and what we need to do is make a world for everybody by getting rid of the oil, right?
What I don't get is, what does that have to do with, like, the whole, okay, without talking like spoilers or anything, but like, what does that have to do with the crystals? If they're
the crystals are supposed to be like analogous to oil or some kind of limited natural resource.
How does getting rid of that save anything? Because they're just fighting over that.
I guess the idea is that, like, that causes war. That's why people fight, because they fight over resources that are limited. I don't. Again, like, it just seems so ill-conceived. Like, what exactly is the point of it? I don't really know.
I mean, typically a Final Fantasy, and not that it has to be a traditional like sense in any of the Final Fantasies that came before it, but typically the crystals are just being sought after because they give some kind of power to basically allow somebody to go fucking nuts and annihilate everybody, right?
I think like all of the
this
Final
is
Fantasies,
like you said, it's like using magic and crystal power as like oil, and just like, what do we do? Just
it's an immanentization of these categories, I guess, like a thinking of them in terms of just like rudimentary fucking everyday physical categories in the world, right? Whereas previously, like Final Fantasies, you know, whatever side of the fucking idea they fell on, they always interrogated the relationship between man and fucking something other than man, like the transcendent or the alien or something like this, right? And in the midst of like depicting, you know, fucking emotional human interaction, they fucking were related to or concerned with those things specifically, right? Like, you know, fucking Aerith is like the fucking avatar of Gaia there, and her job is to like fucking restore the order of nature against some alien threat that wants to parasitize it and shit like this, right? Yeah. Or in fucking Final Fantasy X, like, it's essentially the idea that like spiritual or metaphysical realities like parasitize the real world, and you know, you gotta fucking free yourself of the influence of them. It's not like it's pro like metaphysical or pro religion, but it understands the fucking relationship at work here, and the story is about that. The world building's about that. It's not it's not like it's analogous to any political categories we experience in the world, right? It's not like, oh, that is the Catholic Church and these guys are the Protestants. No, it's not like that, right? It doesn't have anything like that. 15 could well be described as a fucking Christ story, but it's not literally like this guy is Jesus and those guys are fucking analogous to any like pre-existing thing in the world. Or Lord of the Rings, right? Like this, Tolkien says this is a fundamentally Catholic and religious work. It's not about Jesus and the disciples. It's not like it's not like C.S. Lewis and he builds Narnia and the lion is literally Jesus, right? This is like Final Fantasy XVI.
I didn't know that.
You know what I mean? Like just crude, like allegorical representation of things that you literally believe in the real world. You've not built a world. You've just put fucking new drapery atop the world you believe already exists.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking cheap, bro. It's not world building, right? Whereas 15 could well be fucking something inspired by Christian fucking myth and like its understanding of the universe, but it's its own world where those ideas are supposed to be fucking broader structures that would pertain to any particular history, any particular society, right? It's not about this society. It's about a universal vision of the cosmos and how it works out in an original world. You know? Here I'm saying there is no original world. There's our world with fantasy drapery.
With fantasy,
you know? Not only in terms of the fucking crude allegorical fucking tensions that motivate the plot, but even the fucking ideas of the characters we're supposed to sympathize with, dude. It's just so like fucking rote, you know? Oh, well, this is a place for everybody. Let's make sure they're well fed. Like, oh, man. So tiresome, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that there's just like little inconsistencies that don't seem to make sense to me. Like the fact that the people who are enslaved are apparently almost the most powerful and capable entities in the universe.
That's very strange.
And you meet them and they're all like victims and timid and like fucking
they get like
in need of
and
assistance.
Fucking slave.
They can't go pick up their own meal from the bar for some reason. You know what I mean? Like it's just. It just seems like the world, like, fuck. Not only did it, nobody put work into like devising an inner logic, an original one for the sake of building a world, but even what is there and its fucking mimicry of our world, it taxes your credulity. Like it's hard to buy into it sometimes. You know, that's the real thing. Now, I said like it's the opposite of Zelda for me, like in that. In Zelda, I really like the world, and sometimes I'm challenged by the gameplay. But here, like, I can't say I like the world, but I really, really like the gameplay and fucking mechanical and fucking aesthetic parts of the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like aside from that, almost everything else is a pretty fucking is a good hit.
It's mechanically very competent.
Yeah,
right?
The game itself, exactly like you said, mechanically competent. And I love I just love like the structure of it being open-ended in a sense that you can go to your camps and still like buy stuff, upgrade, stock up on potions, but then you can go to the areas you need to be and fast travel to continue on the story, and then have story segments broken up with cutscenes that are somewhat lengthy, which like I don't know, it feels almost in that regard like a classic Final Fantasy, you know, just like super long cutscene, or even like Kojima game or whatever.
I think like a Final Fantasy game in most respects.
Right? In a lot of respects, is like it does hit the right beats for it to.
I don't think the kind of gameplay involved necessarily makes it Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
To me, Final Fantasy is that set of fucking aesthetic and narrative tropes that are applied by different authors or designers in pursuit of their own world building, you know. So it's a Final Fantasy game for sure, like even if that involves certain like narrative presentation, I think it has it, like you just said, right? It's and it's, I mean, it's well written, it's well voice acted, it's fun to play. There's really a lot of good things, I think, anyway. It would be hard, like if you like video games, I think you have to play this game just in terms of its gameplay and its as a technical achievement, and even the superficial aspects of the world, if you fucking can pick at them in terms of world building, like as fucking narrative, as you know, as proximate elements of the game that you can touch and see and play, like they're very enjoyable, right? They're well done there. I don't think they're fucking necessarily bound up with the what I call the deficiencies of the world building, right? So,
that's true.
The same way you can have a game that you really enjoy the world building and it's just this fucking materially like incompetent, Zelda, right? or Cyberpunk doesn't work on the PlayStation, let's say, or something like this, right? So.
Well, Zelda not being incompetent, but I see Zelda a lot of times, you know, being like gameplay
that's
bloated, right?
It would be to me the opposite of this situation.
Exactly, right?
Where it has some very fucking lofty and intelligent world building that draws on like some fucking incredibly you know, even if I don't fucking propose that the people there were like going and reading anything in particular, but it touches on mankind's deepest aspirations and understandings of the cosmos, like something like Zelda, right? Something crazy, fucking common to all human culture, like the ideas in Zelda, right? But this, I don't think it does.
No, I would say you're probably right about like, so the world building here is not the highest we've seen, of course, not very, I would say it's
like Game of Thrones in all the worst ways, you know? All the fucking delving into just stupid human garbage that's proper to our time, right? And you know what, man? You know what I found fucking ridiculous? Remember we were reading about the guy saying, nah, there's not going to be black people because this is a medieval game and it would fucking violate. Why the fuck then do they swear like I'm swearing right now? You know?
You
doesn't make any sense.
Fucking Benedict,
you know? They're all fucking saying fuck all the time.
Yeah, they might as well have had them anyway. What the
hell? It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. This is medieval. That's why their politics are like fucking some guy who lives in Portland today. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Doesn't make any sense.
I guess there's a bit of some inconsistencies there.
It's just not well conceived, I don't think. It doesn't feel like the mind, like when I play a game by like a Kojima or a Miyazaki, or I talked about Control with you today, or the old Final Fantasies, like to me it's like the fucking mind responsible for this. There's a profundity to it. You know, it's like the fucking surface of an ocean. You fucking see the light reflecting deep into the water there, and you hope to fucking get a deeper understanding of what there is to it. It has intelligibility beyond the surface. This doesn't have that, bro. It seems just like a pantomime to me in so many respects, right? Like it's like a fucking beautiful, like Disneyland, you know? It's like fucking well built and constructed, but ultimately substanceless. And that to me, honestly, like it sounds fucking dramatic, but that fucking is a bit heartbreaking to me, man. I was pretty disappointed when I fucking, you know? I was disappointed in that respect. I was like, this after the first couple of hours, like I was like, man, it's starting to like, my disbelief is not suspended. Right? Like,
not entirely, exactly. I mean, the story beats are good, and like you said, it's fun to play through.
The kaiju battles are fucking awesome. Like all of this.
We're probably about like halfway through the game, maybe we're not even finished.
I think it says I'm like 35%.
35%.
PlayStation.
Oh wow. Yeah. Oh yeah, I checked and I was 38.
There you go. Yeah. Probably.
Still got a ways to go, but
about halfway. Yeah. I'm gonna finish it, but again, like I know the plot. I understand like the trajectory of the story and the world building and whatever it feels like to play it, and I'm gonna enjoy it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
this is not, insofar as like my whole understanding of this medium is that it's representational. It doesn't matter how fucking competent the fucking words on the page are, so to speak, if the thing being described ultimately is, you know, like it can only ever be so good then, right?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of hit your cap there.
Whereas again, like you play a fucking Elden Ring or a Death Stranding, you're like, man, this world is like fucking, there's more to it than I could possibly ever fucking comprehend, and I want to know it, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And something about knowing it too. It's like, you know, it's fucking, there's a universality to it, right? Like
it's almost like it's not something easily attained, because like to know the more shit to know about a fucking Elden Ring or a Demon Soul, Dark Souls game is you have to almost look it up by yourself, or pick it up from just paying attention while you're playing the game,
like scholarly mindset
like
you're going through the thing.
Exactly, right? Like,
you know what else, man? Like, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like you come back around when you're playing something like Death Stranding or Elden Ring. Like it's not about the fucking world, but in its fucking concern for universal things, fucking true in any world, you end up coming back around to something about relevant to you anyways, right? It touches you in your own life precisely because it's not about you. It's about fucking broader things that aren't that abstract from all fucking possible worlds, you know?
Yeah,
like
I feel like, honestly, and I'm not ashamed to say this at all, at the end of Final Fantasy 15 almost brought me to like tears. Just like, it was so beautiful the way it ended, and I feel like no matter how good this game gets, like it wouldn't be the same thing.
Yeah,
without like talking about spoilers, just because like that game was on another fucking level. Man, like that ending and shit, right?
Every culture has this like fucking some kind of meta narrative about this sacred king sacrificing himself to restore the order of the cosmos. It's like it's not a really like a fucking culturally relative thing. It's not about this world or that world, right? It's like fucking Tolkien, he's got this king returning in his book, but he's not fucking sitting there advocating the institution of monarchy, right? Like these things are represented insofar as they derive from what he thinks are universal features of reality, true in all possible worlds, right? So I think then, if you fucking do real world building, even if the thing is not about us, it is about you in a universal sense, in the most true and important way. Whereas something like this, well, it's about fucking things that are happening tomorrow. It's not even fucking relevant tomorrow.
Yeah, right? Like,
it already loses its fucking,
I feel like I'll be able to play through it and enjoy it and sort of suspend enough belief to like appreciate it in some sense. But I see what you're saying, whereas like the final outcome around the end would probably not give you the same like impact as like the ending of 15 without spoiling anything for either of those games. Like whatever, just that from what I know, right?
Just what its concern is.
Yeah,
like the logic of the world is not the same. One is like a transplant of a particular historical situation, and the other purports to be like a fucking based on an understanding of reality as such. One's ontological and one's particular and political, right? Like that's the difference.
I mean, but otherwise, I will say that I'm still somewhat like satisfied that we're still getting, Final Fantasy fucking mainline releases like this, and I kind of hope that they, I'm sure they'll still cook up some kind of turn-based games, but I hope they also look at making games that are less open world and more linear like this. Like imagine if Forspoken was like this. Maybe actually, no, that game probably would have been better open world because it had the really fast movement. Whereas this game, not the same. Yeah. You're not flying around. So this game is more suited for this way. So anyways, I like this format, and I like the heavy cutscenes, like long story beats. We've been missing out on stuff like that because
I do like the way it's designed. I hope more people realize that. And I think really, like, if people, people complain about the fucking time and budget involved in making a game of this stature, and that would certainly go a long ways to helping that, buddy.
Absolutely.
Building a few really like heavily detailed environments that have with borders around them.
Yeah. The fuck?
Even building the fucking zones in like Wild Hearts must have been a fucking ridiculous job compared to these things in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, those are a lot bigger.
Those are huge.
Yeah,
you gotta fucking account for people walking on every potential surface in the fucking environment. Yeah.
And there's a lot of verticality that you don't get in this game either.
Here you gotta do some nice fucking modeling, but it's how much has physics in that fucking game? Probably.
It's true. It is. I will say it's refreshing to see like a linear level design like that. But
yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
I wouldn't mind to see both styles sort of going forward in different, if they do like the Final Fantasy IX remake and keep it turn-based, cool. Yeah. 7 remake is like a hybrid, and then the next one's going forward maybe just live action. Like they got everything covered. I love it.
Fuck, I hope that fucking they have smarter dudes design the next one. I don't know. I feel like first and foremost, like the deficiencies here result from the fucking fucking creative poverty on the part of the people.
Now that I just thought of it, I was watching a bit of sorry to cut you off, but I was watching a bit of Kingsglaive today, and it's like that game had enough lore to make movies out of. Like there was so much going on, right? Yeah. And Kingsglaive is cool. I actually fucking really like that movie. Like
I love 15.
You know, if you want to. I mean, I'm always in the Final Fantasy mood, but if anyone's in the Final Fantasy mood, then fucking that or like Advent Children, love watching movies.
No, for sure.
Final Fantasy ones.
For sure.
Yeah, this game doesn't have that same broader, I guess.
No. And even the way that like what they were going for with that game, like how all the characters had these ridiculous Latin names that meant ridiculous things.
Oh yeah.
Like I read somebody wrote this article where it's just like they're like, this is a celebration of fucking Western culture through the eyes of Japan, right? Like, and somebody made this argument about fucking Dark Souls before too, and honestly I agree. Like it's a fucking it's them fucking taking on that view of reality. That's exactly the point, right? That's the world is like a fucking a new historical appearance on top of a very discernible understanding of reality and human nature, right? And whether or not we agree with it is besides the point. It doesn't fucking matter. The point is that that's the source of its fucking intelligibility and coherence, and something I feel is lacking here.
Yeah, fair enough.
This game probably it does contain such a fucking vision of reality and human nature, but it's an implicit and thoughtless one, just built into the fucking thoughtfully accepted, superficial political elements.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. That's my understanding of it anyways. I'm open to fucking an argument. I would love to be fucking wrong about that and to just have a fucking awakening and be like, this is actually brilliant. But
I don't know if anyone's going to be able to provide you with that kind of insight. I sure as fuck can't.
Fuck, I hope so. I hope it just comes on its own.
Then again, we still have a lot of the game to play through apparently, so let's see, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it won't be. I can tell you, it won't be a slog to get through because, like we said, it's fun to play. Honestly, it's fucking.
It's fun to play.
It's great to play.
You just get into the fights and you automatically fucking are in there. It's like
you know exactly what you're gonna do. Just smashing the abilities and pretty much upgrading the ones you want.
What I fucking love is how you're supposed to space out every sword attack with a magic attack there.
Yes.
Oh man, I've never
sword magic, sword magic, or sword magic. Like you just break up your combos with bursts of magic and it multiplies your damage.
Every attack, and it fucking flows, and you get the combo. Oh man, and it feels so good to pull it off. It's hard too.
Yeah, it doesn't. This game is cool because it's very much an action game, but a lot of stuff can't be spammed.
No.
Like it's obviously a lot more forgiving than a game like Sekiro, let's say.
Oh yeah.
But your windows aren't like, it's not like 15 where you just jam block or dodge or whatever the hell and you're like invulnerable practically. It's not like you have to time stuff, right?
There's timing.
You know, the window is not egregiously like small. You have some opportunity, but you still can't just mash, like I said.
Fucking that training stone in the hideout there, where you can go and they enable these icons on the screen that show you the timing for the magic burst. That's so right. after every sword attack, it shows you when you're supposed to punch the.
You know what? I didn't even. I've been in that training thing, but I didn't notice that you could see that. I just kind of
enable it in the settings.
Yeah, cool.
Timing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it teaches you when, after every sword attack, to hit the other one. And kind of go.
Yeah, because there is a window that you're not always open. You can't just jam and like.
It has three icons actually: the dog, your sword, and the fucking magic. And it shows you sword, magic, sword, magic, sword, magic, sword, magic, dog.
Wow.
And back and forth, right? That's the cycle it expects of you. But the point is, I guess that. I read that this Suzuki guy is like, this is my best fucking piece of work, and I think I see why he would say that, right? Because these concepts from character action games and stuff like that. And he's fucking essentially made it that you definitely can't just fucking coast through the game. You have to learn how to play it, right?
Like, it's like a nightmare for speedrunners, maybe. How the fuck,
Yeah, it's great.
And because it does have, RPG, like, similar, I want to say progression, but, just like level-based stats and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could grind to the point where you would, like, level shit like crazy, right? Because eventually, like, it's like any,
it already feels
RPG,
pretty fucking easy.
You get, plus you don't get a crazy amount of experience just grinding, right? You're supposed to just carry through
Honestly,
the story,
there could just be no RPG elements and I wouldn't even notice the difference.
Yeah,
I'm fucking going to upgrade my sword, but there's only one sword, and I just get the upgrade pretty much automatically. Like, why the fuck don't I just...
Yeah, I've gone through, like, a couple of swords, but really, you don't...
They just give you them at certain points in the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel like...
Yeah.
It feels a bit tacked on, I will say that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really necessary. It's cool that it's there, but like there's not really much. So you're not like
no builds. There's not like there's any fucking
full party. Yeah, exactly. Of characters with different things that suit their fucking style of.
Like even in V Rising, I was playing that recently too. Like there's only one set of gear you can have at any given time, but you can tweak your build based on like fucking adding certain effects to your spells and picking gear that either buffs your magic or your physical attacks. Here, it doesn't really seem like,
doesn't seem like it makes much of a difference in the game. I mean, I get it's a character action game, so it's not like you said.
Think about Forspoken too.
Variety of
Forspoken was almost the exact same system with the gear, but it still felt satisfying to go and tweak what you had, right?
That game was like this game on crack in terms of like the magic anyway.
Bro, I literally I fucking think that game was better than this game. I don't care,
man. I think it was criminally underrated.
It was better than this game, man. It had a better world, straight up. It had a better world, okay? It had a better world without any weird Game of Thrones fucking like...
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. Anyways, it had a better world and the gameplay was fucking awesome. It had all the stuff about this plus killer movement and awesome game.
It's true. It really was a fucking
I don't understand.
Damn
and people thought that writing was bad and this is good writing. Why? Why is that writing worse than this? There's just as many fucks. The fucks here are more awkward because apparently it's a medieval Europe that's so consistently white that they can't fucking have anybody else. But
oh my God, you're so right.
It doesn't make any sense. It's fucking, it blows my mind.
That's so true. Literally, like, even in the demo that you could just download for free on the PlayStation Store, like, one of the first fucking scenes, Benedict, like, you cock. And, like, I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all.
I don't give a fuck either.
It's just so funny that, like, Forspoken and was like, I can't believe this chick is saying fuck. What is this? Like, shut up. Are you kidding me?
Because they didn't, like, and the fucking hilarious thing is, what does it take to make people think this sort of speech is acceptable? They literally have these guys in this, like, fucking shittily written, like, fucking Shakespearean English, improperly using words like thine and thy every 5 seconds, after saying fuck or some cock or something. Right? It's just bizarre. That's good writing.
Weird.
I guess because people don't realize it's poor Shakespearean quote unquote English and fucking nobody actually ever talked that way.
I really hate to fucking overly shit on Final Fantasy XVI, but it is such a disservice what happened to Forspoken that like I can't believe it brought us here, but it is true. At the end of the day, it's true.
I think that was a better game straight up. At least in terms of like fucking, this game is good. Like I just said, the game is good, but Forspoken fucking to me was clearly a better fucking thing to play. Like way more fun to play, bro. The same basic overarching structure, by the way. You switch between these different elemental configurations and this and that. Except that game had fucking awesome movement and shit, you know? On
so
top
many
of all the other
skills
stuff.
too.
And it did have too that fucking combo, fucking having to combo at certain times and switch between your abilities, right?
Yes, it did have a very similar like style of combat. Even though
I'm looking forward to going back to that for that fucking DLC.
Is it out yet or is it coming out?
I don't know. We should play. I think it's out. You know what? I'm fucking gonna play that both because I love it and to spite everybody. Fuck you.
I bought the DLC.
Did you? It's out?
I bought it. I don't know if it came out yet, but I know I bought it. I remember when all the hate was going down and we ended up liking it, that I specifically bought the upgrade to the edition that comes with the DLC because I'm like, I know one day I'm going to go back to and play it. So we'll look it up and we'll see. But
man, the hilarious thing is people called that game fucking woke. Can you imagine? I don't have to tell you why. That game, why is it woke? Because the character's black and this is not woke? Do I even have to get into that? Come on. You know what I mean? Come on, boys. Give me a fucking break. I don't even know
anymore, man.
Man, I don't give a shit.
To have a black female main character, I loved Forspoken. I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think black is woke.
I don't think so either.
But certain other things are, and that game didn't have them, right?
That's right.
So I don't know what's going on.
Flippity floppy going on here.
Some strange,
sinister shit.
Some strange, not really well reasoned fucking. You know,
if you're curious,
what am I now? Am I a fucking right-wing reactionary, or am I a woke? Like, what am I according to whom? Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense,
man.
Yeah, it is a disaster. But just to say, like, fuck, I don't know, man. I really like. I'm gonna lean into this. Like, I think Forspoken was just a better game. You know, although I do like this.
Yeah. Maybe that's our nice conclusion we can come to.
Yeah.
And I usually end these off by saying insert game we're talking about. But if you don't want to play
honestly,
Forspoken.
play them both next to each other.
Try
Final
that. Fantasy 16 and Forspoken in either order.
And I promise you know.
Yeah.
You're going to be like maybe people don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, well, here's what it's come to. In any case, let's get through this and try and enjoy what good there is. I hope to fuck I'm wrong.
We will report back at some point.
Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and take care.
Oh, yeah.